and we are racing, and it's an absolutely electric start for the 42 of Will Bedford. Massive lunge on the inside by Matt Buff on Alistair Camp. Active on the outside. Oh! Dropped on! Oh! Dig off! Oh. Straight in the gravel trap. Both cars out.
Welcome along, everybody, to round 4 of the 2023 Milltek Sport Civic Cup. You join myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Henry Baudet, our co-commentator for this weekend. There has been a few changes afoot since yesterday afternoon's race.
Yep.
First of all, we have to give a shout out to the grandstand just behind us over at Clairville at turn 1. Look at that.
Packed, which is great to see.
It's full to the rafters, but also there has been a little bit of a slight spittle of rain over the course of, but it hasn't done much to dampen the enthusiasm of the fans,
Nope.
nor the enthusiasm of the drivers.
Yes.
But the biggest changes came afoot. Now, anyone that might remember the ding-dong battle that happened between Max Edmondson and Will Redford, after much deliberation, multiple disciplinary hearings with race control, Max Edmondson has been excluded, which means that, yes, so there was a possibility of 2 drivers being disqualified. It was only 1, but there's also further ramifications. That means that Max Edmondson, Henry Baudet, starts from the back of the grid, so Ryan Bensley picks up the win.
Yep.
It's still close in the championship. Jack Harding and Morgan Bailey are now the amended top 3 finishers. Louis Capitoli got a 5-place grid penalty, but he has got 3 penalty points on his licence, which means
another 3 places further back, which meant that it's actually Alex Kite who finished 10th, who starts from pole position. Capitoli's back to 13th.
Yeah, so we're not that long away from getting this second 15-minute race underway, but we do have the opportunity to speak to some drivers. And first of all, we're going to have a chat. Let's collar Jackson White.
Hi, how's everyone, all right?
All good. Now, Henry told me about this, so if we want to point the camera, bottom left corner of the windshield, this way up. Now, Henry has already told very sound advice, but would you like to tell the folks at home, in a shortened, condensed version, what happened to mitigate that on the windshield?
Well, so it's net, the first turn, I don't know the name of it, first turn, the back end come round, just in testing on the last session on Friday, the back end come round, so it sent me into the field, but obviously way off from the track. So I tried turning just to aim back to the track slightly, and with it being fast on grass, it just span. So it says it span back round, that's where you thought all the trouble is, so I'm looking around, making sure, as it comes straight again, it was fine. Literally, the V-box said it was like 27 mile an hour, I think, so absolutely nothing. Just started to go back round then to get onto the track, and there's a ditch across the field, as much as it sounds silly. And a few of the lads went out, and the front went over and the back hit it, and it just went up, like a seesaw, and it was up dead straight, and it rocked, and I thought it was going to drop back out on wheels, but it didn't, and it went over. So, well, yeah, so, and then literally, it's a weird experience for myself, like, and I was upside down, I was like, oh. So I was thinking, oh, I need to undo the harness, and then I realised, well, when you undo that, you're dropping on your head. So I was like, right, okay, here we go, did it, hit my head, obviously jumped out the roll cage. At the time, though, I was just so like, what has actually just happened? Because obviously you've done the main bit where you think there's damage, and then you get out, and I just seen it, so I was just like, well, that's the first testing day gone really well, so.
So your Honda Civic EP3 did the equivalent of a failed ollie manoeuvre. Yes. So yeah, that was coming out of Rich's, going into basically going to the first hairpin, which is Wilson's. So that was a very big learning experience. So you've done that, and that has kept you on terra firma, all 4 wheels on the tarmac, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, this week, well, I'd say that testing, I decided to go in the gravel and just see how deep that was. But no, we're doing all right. We had a few little bits on the first race, but everything's learning, and as I say to myself, I'm pretty new to racing, so everything and every lap's just a massive learning curve. And with these boys, they're not messing, they're good lads, they're really good, so you're in the right place to learn to drive a car, really, aren't you? I think with these guys here, they know how to race, so yeah, looking forward to it. Just
Yeah, we'll
progressing.
let you get on, so good luck out there, Jackson. Henry, I know that you want to say something about Will Redford's car.
Yeah, we've got potential drama. Hello to Jackson's family. So, Danny Hobson, due to start second. If you have a little look, that car, the bonnet is up. He's having issues there. He's touch and go with it. He's going to make the race. Will Redford. Okay. Owen Hillman in car number 70 for the Pro Alloys team. His race car the engine wouldn't fire yesterday, so luckily they brought a spare shell, so they got a spare car. Owen Hillman's been out in a spare car. Will Redford, we saw him write his car off at the end of race 1 yesterday. He has put his race engine into Owen Hillman's original chassis. The engine wouldn't work in Owen Hillman's car, but everything else did. So he has got Owen Hillman's original race chassis with Will Redford's race engine in it. But I think we need to go and ask and see what Danny Hobson.
I'll leave that one to you, so take it away, Mr. Bodette.
Okay, no problem. So we're going to quickly go and ask. Okay, a big congratulations to Alex Kite to start with. Let's have a look now. It looks stressful. Danny Hobson, who's due to start second. The bonnet's been up. There's been lots of running about going on. It's obviously it's in motion. Dare I ask what the potential? Sorry, Danny. I know it's a bad time. What's the problem?
Just seemed to be having a misfire issue. Chucking in a rev limiter at 4 instead of 8.
Okay, so again, we got to get in the car. Good luck. Hopefully it gets fixed.
I don't think it will, but we'll have a go.
It's going to be an interesting run down towards turn 1. Regardless, our pole sitter, Alex Kite, he's already in the car. But Alex, I got to go up and join Scott Woodward in the commentary box. Drama before the start of the Civic Cup.
And you said misfire. Misfire. Oh dear. Right. So that's 2 litre. So the thing is, right. We're going to try and see. I've already caught up with this young man, Mr. Kite. How's about that then? Top 10 finish puts you on reverse grid pole for round 4. How are you feeling? You're going to have everyone challenging you today.
Yeah, I got a bit of a nosebleed being this far up, but yeah, no, I think we're going to enjoy it. Should be a good fun. Just try and make a break and try and keep it clean. That's the main thing, and try and bring it on home.
I mean, it's good to start off the weekend. Okay, qualifying was a little bit touch and go, but to get P10 after what transpired yesterday, those clouds, I have to say, must be putting a little bit of the fear of God into you right now, because we've had a little sprinkler weather. Do you think that is going to stay away, or are you hoping that might come into play possibly?
I'm hoping it'll stay away ideally, but if it comes to, I'm not that bad in the wet, so we should be able to make something out of it. So we had a little bit of running on Friday morning in the wet, so yeah, either way, we'll take it as it comes.
Brilliant, Alex, go get them. Have a good one out there. Our reverse top 10 grid poleman, Alex Kite, the number 97 from Pro Alloys Racing. They are starting the engines. The misfire. Misfire can happen due to a multitude of factors. Spark plug, HT leads that are directly connected to the spark plug, so it's the firing order of the engine itself. So you've got 4 spark plugs that help with regards to the fuel combustion in the chambers and the cylinders, so the pistons will be going up and down like a proverbial yo-yo. These cars, these EP3s, rev to 8,500 RPM. So if that car makes it onto the grid, bonnet is down, so they might have been able to, if they get that started up, that sounds good to me. Brilliant. Okay, thumbs up. The person who's going to be lining up alongside our pole sitter for the reverse top 10 grid here at Croft. It's round 4, 2023 Milltek Sport Civic Cup. 15 minutes. We had 8 laps of racing. Alex Kite has got a target on his back. Max Edmondson, more than likely, is going to come charging through the field. You've got a lot of people who are going to be competitive. Alistair Camp, earlier on this weekend, noticed that his rear bumper was off after qualification. Don't know if we might be able to... Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Alistair, if we can. Alistair, just quickly, how are you feeling? I mean, I noticed the rear bumper was off after quali, but race 1, feeling good?
Yeah, feeling all right. We're just struggling for pace and we can't get our finger on it, but I'm hoping Chris Hutchin Racing has done a fantastic job. We keep persevering and we know we should be there, but we're not at the minute, but we're going to give it all our all now and see. If it's not sorted this time, then we're going to have to go back home, obviously, and see what we can find.
Okay, brilliant, Alistair, go get him. Right, okay, that's it from here in the holding area. It's round 4, 2023 Milltek Sport Civic Cup, 15 minutes. So join Scott Woodward and Henry Bodette in the commentary box after this short commercial break.
let it go.
Do you wonder why your competitors' websites appear in Google searches ahead of you? Then make a call to the SEO experts Warrior and understand how your business can be more visible online. As the official marketing partner of TCR UK, you can now work with a trusted search engine optimization partner to increase web traffic, inquiries and sales. Speak to us for your free audit and quote by visiting warrior.co.uk today.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
So welcome along everybody to race number 2 of the weekend for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, this fantastic fast hot hatch series which always provides fantastic action wherever it goes. Green flag is flying for our second race to get underway, and it's a partially reverse grid from yesterday's result, which puts Alex Kite on the front row of the grid on pole position. And we're looking to try and see if he can use all of his experience from racing at Castle Combe to get himself at the front of the field. Scott Woodwist and Henry Rodette back in the commentary box once again to cover this second race for you of the weekend. And after yesterday's race, it was quite fast and frenetic. I think that's the key word, frenetic yesterday, but it was quite action-packed. So if they get more of the same, maybe with a little less of the shenanigans at one point in time, I think it should be another belt of a race coming up this afternoon.
Absolutely, Scott. I can't agree with you more. Shenanigans is one way to put it. For the first 14 minutes of the race, it was superb saloon car racing. It was close quarters, no quarter asked, none given. And then the last minute, I think, from Max Edmondson's point of view, this is local track. It is local track. He's got lots of family and friends here. He's leading the race. He's going to defend. He's going to do everything he possibly can to hang on to it. I think just, again, excluded. He went over the mark a little bit, I think it's safe to say. Ended up with a few issues, and it is an exclusion. Here's a look at the starting lineup though, Scott.
Yeah, so the partially reverse grid, that puts Alex Kite on pole position, and he will start alongside Danny Hobson, who had a bit of a misfire, I think, in the assembly area, so he may or may not take the start, or he may have possibly cured that or not. We'll have to wait and see how he gets off the line, if he's there or not. Dan Thackeray starts on the second row of the grid alongside Alistair Camp in car 45. They're ahead of Harvey Caton and Sam Kirkpatrick. He's having a great one-off weekend in this championship, starting 6th and a great day yesterday with some great results. Then it's Morgan Bailey and Jack Harding, followed by yesterday's race winner Ryan Benson, who will start back in 9th place on the grid. And then Dave Bucci, who's having a fantastic cameo back in the championship this weekend. He should start from 10th on the grid there. Row 6 is going to be Leonardo Panayiotou, followed by Dave Marshall, the first of the FN2 Honda Civics. Then Louis Capitello, who has a 5-place grid penalty from yesterday after some of his involvement in some incidents. He starts alongside Tommy Knight in car 24. Next is Nick Charlier and Travis Chapman on the 8th row of the grid, followed by Owen Hillman and James Ramsden. It's Mark Hughes and Anthony Gannon, followed by Jackson White and Simon Welch. And then some of the drivers that hit a bit of strife yesterday. Dan McDonald, who was off after he had some problems at qualifying, and then he also came off with some mechanical issues. The key one though is Will Redford, because he had that rather nasty looking high-speed accident down the back straight. Now he's actually in Owen Hillman's Owen Hillman's spare car,
Yes.
but they've salvaged the engine for Will Redford's car to put it in there. So it's Will Redford's engine in Owen Hillman's car.
Yeah, it's Owen Hillman's race car.
Race car.
Owen Hillman's racing his spare car. I know, it's a lot to take in. What is also quite a lot to take in, Scott, is that cloud. I've just walked up from the holding area. The wind is blowing from behind Clervaux and the turf, and it's blowing up the straight. So the driver's going to go down the start-finish straight into a headwind. The clouds are coming from that direction. I mean, we don't need to try and artificially generate any excitement for this type of race. There is Danny Hobson in the pits. He said he was doubtful whether he's supposed to start second. Oh, it looks as though Hobson is not going to that. It's not Hobson's choice to be in the pit lane before the start of the race. Terrible misfortune for Danny Hobson. It does mean, though, look at that, number 45, Alistair Camp will have a clean run down towards Clervaux on lap number 1, but Hobson said to me he wasn't confident of them fixing that misfire, and it looks as though the team sadly haven't been able to.
Yeah, it's a frustrating thing with misfires. It's kind of relate a little bit. I had a misfire in my car last year, and it's where essentially the engine won't rev beyond a certain point. So
yes,
essentially it feels like you're on reduced power and the engine's being strangled. It can be as simple as just a spark plug that's not working properly, a spark plug that's been worn out and broken, and it can literally feel like you've got absolutely no power whatsoever. So simply just a quick spark plug fix. It can sometimes be as simple as that. Sometimes it's a bit more complicated, but either way, it should be interesting. One thing to also note as well, which is also pretty quickly mention it, last 3 cars on the grid, Jeff Alden, Jordan Brenner and Max Edmondson. Now, we just mentioned he got disqualified for 1 or 2 infringements from even yesterday's finish of the race, shall we say. So he's starting at the back of the grid in 27th, but he'll be one to certainly watch out for from towards the rear. I think also Will Redford looks like, if that is his car, was a little late getting to the grid because he's just rolling into his grid spot. But he is there at the back, and he's all sorted out to go. So the last couple of the cars are into position, so I think we're all set to go then for another 15 minutes of excellent saloon car action coming up for the Milltek Sport Civic Cup. And it's going to be Alex Kite on pole position on his own on the front row of the grid, but watch for both Dan Thackeray and Alistair Camp from the second row of the grid, and also the likes of Harvey Caton, Sam Kirkpatrick and Morgan Bailey and Jack Harding, race 1 winner Rowan Bensley and Max Emerson from the back of the grid. 15 minutes of Civic Cup action coming up next. Grid lights will come on any second now, and we'll be getting underway very shortly. Red lights up. Can Alex Kite win the sprint to the first corner? The answer is going to be, we'll find out in a second. It's a good start for Kite initially, and also with that clear spot, here comes Dan Thackeray to the outside line. It's a lightning getaway from Thackeray. He pulls level already with Kite down towards Clervaux. Also fast start for Harvey Caton on the inside line. He's slotting him on Alistair Camp, but round the outside to Clervaux goes the new race leader, Dan Thackeray, and from where he started on pole at Steston, trying to get himself back to the front, he's done that quite clearly. Thackeray to the front already as the field piles its way through Clervaux, through Hawthorns. There's contact mid-pack. That's Dan McDonald, I think, getting involved from 6, spinning around Anthony Gannon. Gets going once again, but apart from that, and apart from Dave Buki entering stage right from the runoff area, everyone appears to have got through pretty much cleanly and safely down towards the tower for the first time.
Move going into tower. That's Harvey Caton up the inside of 45. Oh, and got problems. That's Paneatu and Capozzoli in the war, Scott.
Yeah, that's down at Tower Bend. Both of them got together, and I think there was a bit of a conversation this morning about taking it steady in race number 2 after yesterday. But I think 1 or 2 drivers, that's rather dog-eared, that car. Anthony Gannon's car, well, not dog-eared, but its right rear suspension is certainly bent and damaged. That's still going to go no further. There was a bit of a conversation about what happened at the end of yesterday's race, to say just calm it down a tiny bit to make sure that we're a bit more sort of as we should be on track. But it looks as though, unfortunately, Paneatu and Capozzoli haven't been able to totally adhere to that. Capozzoli's car, sadly, with a very bent right rear suspension, is not going to go any further. He's on a little cut-in just on the straight towards the Jim Clark Esses, so he won't make it any further because of the crackdown view of the pack coming through in towards the hairpin for the first time. So Thackeray leads it then. Kate in second place. Morgan Bailey's had a great start from 7th up to 3rd already. Alex Kite is one of the 2 Pro Alloys cars in the mix there coming across the line. He'll be in the mix with Alistair Camp, but it's Thackeray who leads. It's Kate in 2nd, Bailey 3rd, Camp in 4th, Polsitter Kite down to 5th, but it's Kirkpatrick in 6th, Jack Harding in 7th place. Yesterday's race winner Ryan Bensley in 8th, then it's Dave Marsh in 9th, and Tommy Knight rounding up the top 10 to head through Clervaux for the second time.
We also saw the number 20 car stationary in the pits there who didn't get going, James Ramsden. So falling thick and fast here in the opening round. What a start from Dan Thackeray, though. Just gunned it to the outside of Alex Kite, used the fact there was no car in front of them. But are they racing the rain here at Croft? That is the question that is going to be answered in the next 12.5 minutes. We head down towards the tower. There's Max Edmondson. Edmondson's made good ground. He's passed half a dozen cars. Got to say, now Capozzoli, we haven't seen Capozzoli out of the race, but Paniotto, I think Paniotto may have been able to continue, Scott. Can't see him on our screens, but did he complete the opening lap? Will Redford is up to P18. Paniotto did come round, but he has pitted.
And also, we should point out Max Edmondson from the back of the grid into 14th at the moment now, so he really has made some great charging up through the early stages of this race so far. There's Dave Bucchi, who's no stranger to this championship. Good to have him back this weekend. He's his own team away. There is Leo Paniotto in the pit lane having a tyre change. We've got 3 of the Paralloys family all together here. We've got trying to work out who they are exactly, because there's 8 cars that they run in this championship this year, Paralloys Racing, and on top of that they run a car in Fiesta Juniors as well, which is quite a prove of being an official supporting paddock. 2 more of their cars are up towards the front here. That's Alistair Camp and Alex Kite as Dan Thackeray leads them across the road. We've got Jeff Alden in the pit lane as well on the right hand side, so a few cars getting a bit of strife, but down towards the right hander at Clairvaux, still Bailey in 3rd place, followed by Camp in 4th, Kite in 5th, which is down to 6th in fact actually, because it's Sam Kirkpatrick who's moved ahead of him now with P5. We've then also got as well just ahead of these 2, which is Tommy Knight and also then a couple, I think that's a couple others.
Charlie and Edmondson.
Exactly, so Edmondson is up to 13th now. His next 2 targets are going to be, as you say, Tommy Knight and Nick Charlier. So trying to push the pedal as much as he can here to catch up to the rest of the pack as quickly as possible. Come down here, here's Edmondson. Is he going to make that big dive up the inside? Of course he is. It's Max Edmondson going up the inside. And a neat pass then. Charlie didn't make it too difficult for him. He said, right, I recognise that you're the quicker driver. I'm not going to try and hold you up or have an incident. Go past up the inside. I'll try and follow you through the traffic.
It's an important race for Max Edmondson. He's a young driver. He's a hungry driver. He's in this championship. This championship's got a great combination of more experienced drivers and up-and-coming drivers with their eyes on TCR UK. He doesn't want to get himself a reputation as a driver that you cannot race around. So this race is his chance to show, yes, I can race, and I can race cleanly, and I can make plenty of moves. But we've got action, Scott.
We have. It's now nose to tail for the lead, because Harvey Caton feels he's got enough pace now to go on the attack of Dan Thackeray into the hairpin. There's a great chance here he could put himself into the lead if possible, as we've got the rest of the cavalry behind them scrapping over 3rd, led by last year's vice champion Morgan Bailey. He's now got 2 of the Pro Alloys cars in there, which is Alistair Camp and Sam Kirkpatrick. Alex Kite's dropped a couple more spaces because he's now dropped behind both Ryan Bensley and Jack Harding as they come up towards the right-hander at Clairvaux. This is now lap 3, new fastest lap of the race set by Caton, and he's all over the rear bumper of Dan Thackeray. He's looking pretty racy in this sense. He's come up all the way through kind of front-wheel drive practically all of his career so far. He's moved into the Civic Cup and certainly proving he's one of these definite future stars in a TCR car. He's pushing hard.
Mega start from Harvey Caton. Don't forget, oh no, that's Jackson White, who has got, oh, and that looks like it's an expensive problem. Thackeray having to defend. Harvey Caton, mega start, 5th on the grid. Thackeray, don't forget, Scott, had a massive lead at the end of lap number 1. So Caton has reeled him in, and now he's forcing Thackeray to defend. How much will this play to the advantage of the chasing pack, though, as they come to Jim Clark S's nose to tail?
I tell you what, Caton, I think there must have been some kind of an off exit for Dan Thackeray. He didn't look as though he was that tidy coming off a Tower Bend, and that really gave Caton the chance to try and get himself alongside. He thought about it going to Jim Clark S's. He doesn't currently the fastest lap of the race, and it was a full 6/10 quicker as they go past a slightly injured car of Leo Paniotto, and that's going to be pretty tricky, particularly with the scrap for 3rd coming through. You have to keep very wide on the outside line if you can.
That's got more crab in it than the deadliest catch, that one has. And wisely, Paniotto gets out of the way. Slippery surface flags.
And double wave yellows, in fact, as well. So no overtaking in that section. What the double wave yellows are for, I haven't quite, unless I missed something. Oh, it's Jackson White's car that's pulled off. That's the reason why.
Yes,
I thought it was down at turn 1, but it wasn't. It was down at the complex. So I'll cross myself on that one. Thackeray still leads them with Caton on his tail by just about 6/10 of a second coming down towards the right hander at Clairvaux. It's now 3rd for Morgan Bailey. Lap time wise between them very quickly. Morgan Bailey actually quicker than the 2 cars in front of him. He did a 1:34.5 compared to a 34.7 for Thackeray and a 35.0. So Morgan Bailey, if he can start to get some clear air and punching a couple of big lap times, he might start to reel these 2 in if they start battling a bit more.
Just looking at Harvey Caton's car there, Scott, I think his passenger side window is flapping If that comes out, that's going to be a major problem there. Jackson White walks away from his car, and the slippery surface flag, I think, because she has boiled over and has deposited what water and oil there are, isn't it, possibly on the track. There's Edmondson. Next second place car though, Scott, have a look at the passenger side window. It's flapping around at the top. If that comes out, is that going to be a mechanical flag? We'll have to wait and see, but that's going to be a distraction nonetheless. Here's a good scrap on screen. This is the third place battle, and there is Jack Harding in the 43 car leading Kirkpatrick Bensley, and our pole man Alex Kite running in 8th place.
I think you're absolutely right. That's really well spotted, Henry, because if you look at the essentially it's his passenger side window, it has come apart. Usually windows, they get replaced rather than glasses by perspex, although that's an elementary topic at the moment because the safety car has been deployed. I reckon possibly because there is the stranded car Jackson White, which they need to try and push to safety because it has potentially looks like it's expired or at least overheated. But you're absolutely well caught by the camera as well. There it is. You see Harvey Caden's car. That I don't think is glass. That's more kind of like a perspex or like a plastic window that goes in there, because obviously it's much more better to have a plastic window, and also they're more lightweight and more kind of it's more weight friendly and also safer to have those kind of windows, because it means that rather than shattering, it's all sorts can happen with glass in that sense. But when it comes to the current race at the moment, it might affect his aerodynamics a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. So safety car's been deployed then. All the pack will bunch up here. 6.5 minutes to go in this race. The key one to watch, I think, is that man right at the front of the screen. Yes. Max Edmondson into the top 10 now, and this safety car will be an absolute godsend of him because he started at the back of the grid. He now has a great chance, if we can get a quick restart here, to pick off a few more cars to at least get himself near the top 5. I think the podium's a bit too far-fetched, but Evan's getting a few more places here with the cars in front. But he has been lapping quite quicker then, because his best lap time is a 1:37.003. So even through the last lap, he was lapping quicker than the cars in front in the lead anyway. So he's on leader pace. And I suspect that if he gets a good restart here, a few of those cars in front won't be much longer for their positions when he starts passing through them left, right and centre. Of course, but of course, the closer he gets to the front, the harder it is to make moves. There's David Marshall there, the number 66 car. He's the first. I want to be careful how I word this. He's the first driver on Edmondson's hit list. Not hit list, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. He's the first. We know what you mean, don't worry. I mean, the Marshal, the Orange Army here at Croft, they're going to have to move Jackson's car out of the way to start with. But then if there's any residual moisture, water out of the radiator, that's fine. That'll dissipate. If that car has leaked oil anywhere on the track, that's a different kettle of fish altogether. Time is ticking. So 5.5 minutes to go. Thackeray will be thinking, take your time, Marshall, take your time. Harvey Kate will be thinking, hurry up, come on, get on with it. We want to go back and racing, as will everyone else behind. Yeah, technically the person who wants the safety car to go on longer than really everyone else does is Dan Thackeray. Yes. For obvious reasons, if he stays there, it's less time for cars behind to try and pass him. So that makes sense. Everyone else will be thinking, for goodness sake, come on, let's get going. Jeff Alden's getting going. He's had one or two troubles. He's had one or two troubles in this championship so far this year, Jeff Alden. He had one or two mechanical issues with engines and such, but he hopefully will be able to get that sorted and get himself a bit further up the grid. Now that's a pleasing sight. Lights are off on the safety car, so a very quick compression. That's actually really good work by the safety car drivers and by the Clarkson Force of BRSCC. Really good work to get it only one safety car lap in before we have to get going again, which is really good to see. It means we get more racing, more action, and hopefully more overtaking and more exciting times coming up in the next 4.5 minutes of Civic Cup racing action. So, let's see. Dan Thackeray thinks, right, come on you lot, let's get this race back underway. He's already pulled the pin and decided to go ahead. It's actually quite a good restart. He's actually caught Harvey Caden and Co off guard and got a couple of car lengths in the process. So around the hairpin they go then, on the restart, green flag in the air, and we've now 4 and a bit minutes to go, back underway in the Civic Cup, and a great start also for Morgan Bailey. Now he gets a chance to show his pace, to close in on the top 2 once again if he can. So Thackeray, Caton, Bailey, Camp, Harding, then Kirkpatrick, and further back there, another one of the parallels, because Owen Hillman having a scrap with Tommy Knight there. That's over, I think, 11th and 12th position by the looks of it, behind Dave Buki. In fact, 12th and 13th, in fact. It's Will Redford, sorry. Not, I thought I got my drivers mixed up. It's Owen Hillman's car. It's Owen Hillman's car. Will Redford behind the wheel. You're right. It's Owen Hillman's car. Will Redford at the wheel of it in car number 42. Meanwhile, that's the move for the inside. That's it. Harvey Caton up the inside into the lead, but can he hold the position there? Ooh, that's close. They're side by side on the exit. They're going to be wheel to wheel down it. That wheel is still flapping, but that's elementary at the moment. Still side by side between the 2 leaders, and they go wheel to wheel through the Jim Clark Esses. No inch given, no quarter handed. Brilliant stuff between the two. And Kite runs wide onto the run-off tarmac on the exit. Now he's under threat for last year's vice-champion Morgan Bailey. He's back in form. He had a decent run at one point at Snetterton, but had some gearbox issues all that weekend. He's back on form so far. Meanwhile, for Max Edmondson, he's now up to, I think, 9th place past Dave Marshall, and his next target now is Alex Kite to get P8.
Alex Kite, the pole sitter. Don't forget, tyre squealing into the complex. Thackeray's held on. All right, Harvey Caton, has he shown his hand too early, Scott? We know he can make a move down the Copper. Here we go, side by side again. He's going to try the crossover move. It's going to be a great run down to Clervaux with 2.5 minutes now to go.
Pretty feisty out there as it was yesterday, and I think on the grass there was Harvey Caton. He is on the grass, 2 wheels. That's going to give Morgan Bailey the momentum and the chance he wants for second place. Lights ablaze on the 26 cars to come down back towards Clervaux with 2.5 minutes still to go. Also watch behind Alistair Camp and Jack Harding are side by side. Jack Harding, of course, was leading the championship coming into the weekend after he took his first win in the championship last time out at Snetterton in the second race. And what's intriguing here now, look at this, it's like it was in the MX5 championship race just before. One driver getting away, and it's second place backwards, fighting amongst each other, and the easier it is now for Thackeray to start making a break again. Down towards Tower Bend, Bailey all over the back of Caton, applying the pressure down towards the right hand at the end of the straight, the very bumpy braking zone, but Caton knows he's got to get on his toes here and try and get after them as much as he can. Top 5 altogether. Sam Kirkpatrick's back in 6th. As for Edmondson, still on the tail of Alex Kite, still holding 9th position.
We know that Caton's got the pace to catch Thackeray. The question is now, how much of a distraction is Morgan Bailey going to be? Already, though, you've seen Morgan Bailey at the start of this lap was right on Harvey Caton's wheel tracks, and he's now dropped back by a couple of kart lengths. So Caton's not going to get distracted by having to defend his position. He can now relaunch an attack on Dan Thackeray's race lead. The big problem that Caton now has is time, because time is ticking. Now there's Bailey defending from Camp in the complex. Caton has already caught Thackeray. Thackeray getting it crossed up coming into the complex. Thackeray was wide there, Scott, and it's going to put him on the defensive. Caton can't run wide, though.
And it's going to be on to the last lap here. Camp's up the inside of Bailey for 3rd place. Hardy's getting involved for 5th position too. Edmondson will start the inside of Kite there to get position. That's crucial for him too. So on to the last lap of the race. One car, I think that's Tommy Knight slower in the infill. So he's got a problem here. But down towards the complex for the final time at Clervaux. This is going to be tricky here. Harvey Caton knows he has to go for the victory. But Dan Thackeray only has one more lap to hold on. But that's a much bigger task than it sounds. Round 3 Hawthorns up towards the gym. The S's now for the final time. The top 2 have broken away. And now they're out of the S's onto the back straight towards Tower. Now Caton needs all the slipstream he can and get a super exit down towards Tower, and if he can try and attack here. They're charging back down towards the complex. Battle for 3rd is on between Camp, Bailey and Harding, and here comes Caton looking down the outside line. Can he try and get the switch back on the exit? There's a possibility if he can pull himself alongside, he might well try. He can't get it done there, but if he follows close all the way through the Jim Clark S's here on this one, Henry, he might get a chance possibly down towards Barcroft.
The last couple of laps, Dan Thackeray has struggled coming through the complex into the final corner. Is Harvey Caton leaving it till the last minute? He's going to get one chance, Scott. One chance. As Thackeray going to get a little bit crossed up, and so does Caton.
They're both ran wide into the braking zone. That actually was to Thackeray's benefit, because he was looking in his rearview mirror and almost got distracted. They make the sprint down the short straight towards the complex for the final time, and Dan Thackeray might be about to take his first win of the season, unless Harvey Caton's got one final trick to produce here in the complex and up at the hairpin. Nothing at complex left, nothing at complex right. Now they're on the run towards the hairpin. He's going to try and pull alongside, maybe get the undercut on the hairpin. They are wheel to wheel. They do make contact. He might get the undercut on the exit of the corner on the sprint to the line. It might be a drag race. Now the sprint towards the checkered flag. Danny Hobson up to the exit of the pit lane, but it's a victory in the end for Dan Thackeray in the 2nd Milltek Sports Civic Cup race, only just by 0.6 of a second from Harvey Caton. Alistair Camp in 3rd, Morgan Bailey 4th, and Jack Harding in 5th. Ryan Bensley 6th, top 3 covered by 3 seconds at the flag. Then Sam Kirkpatrick, Max Edmondson 8th from the back of the grid. Then Dave Marshall and Will Redford from deep in the pack, also picking up the top 10. Fantastic finish.
Smart driving. Smart driving there from Dan Thackeray coming into the very last corner. I think he could see that Caton, he knew what Caton was going to do. So instead of just turning in, he just kept Caton out as wide as possible. He stopped Harvey Caton from getting the crossover move and the undercut. That was a smart drive. Alistair Camp, a great drive there at the end. And Edmondson finishing on the road in 8th position. Getting word there may have been an issue on the last lap between Edmondson and our pole man, Alex Kite. And Alex Kite did fall down the order at the end, but Scott, that was a great race. Yesterday was a great race for 3/4 of it. This was a great race all the way through, showing why we've got nearly 30 cars on the entry list here in the Milltek Cup, showing why there are lots of young drivers coming into that, using this, thinking this is going to be one of the main feeder series into TCR UK. And again, a classic case in my view. The fastest car in the race was Harvey Caton. The car that had the track position was Dan Thackeray. Dan Thackeray used his mind, used his brain, so track position trumps outright speed, and the number 29 car, the prepared by the Motion Motorsport team, and actually sharing the same hotel with myself, Dan Thackeray, him and his dad. Here is a look, Scott, at the full results.
Yeah, excellent stuff from the Civic Cup as always. Dan Thackeray then takes victory in the second race of the weekend here at Croft. It's Harvey Caton who tried his best but has to settle for second in the end. And that's the Camp, former champion, onto the podium in third place. He'll be delighted with that. Morgan Bailey fourth, Jack Harding fifth, came into the weekend as the championship leader. Then Ryan Bensley, who won yesterday, finishes sixth. And what a debut weekend, even if it is just a one-off, for Sam Kirkpatrick. What a drive from him to get seventh. 2 top 10s in his first race weekend. My hat's off to him. Great stuff. Max Emerson from the back of the grid to 8th. Then Dave Marshall and Will Redford deep in the pack. He finishes 10th, not even in his car, which is pretty incredible. Dave Buckley finishes 11th from Travis Chapman, Nick Charlie and Dan McDonald round out the top 14 runners. And then for 15th downwards, it's Tommy Knight, followed by Jordan Brennan, Owen Hillman, Alex Kite after that spin was pushed down to 18th place. Then it's Hughes, Gannon, Simon Welch, and then it finishes the 21st position. And then we lost Jeff Alden. Also as well in there was the 727 of White, and also Leo Paniotti after his contact with Louis Capozzoli early on in the race. Plus Danny Hobson had misfire problems, and we also lost Capozzoli and Ramsden in the end as well. There's the other positions on the running from 15th to 25th. Saw Danny Hobson with the misfire issue, really put him down the order.
Yeah, a couple of drivers I think we need to mention. Dan McDonald, problems in qualifying and Heat 1 yesterday. He gets a finish in the race. He gets the checker flag. That's a great news for Dan after a tough weekend. Yeah, Will Redford can return Owen Hillman's race car to Owen with no dings in the armoury, but we're going to go down to the pit lane to speak to some of our drivers with Alex Goldschmidt. Take it away, Alex.
Well, a lot of celebration down here in the pit lane. Got to wait for him. The man that narrowly took race for the 2023 Milltek Sports Civic Cup, who's been staying at the Mercure King's Hotel in Darlington with myself. Dan Thackeray, that was an absolutely epic defence once Harvey Caton got on your tail, and he did not want to let go, did he?
No, he had an amazing amount of pace. Even when I had a little gap to him, I thought I could actually relax a little bit, and he would just close me down half a lap later. I put up a valiant defence. I think many more laps and he would have got by. Just enough in the end to get it home P1.
But you know, qualified P12, and you get to the sharper end of the grid for round 4. It was a case of, you know what, I've got a point to prove. I might be a rookie when it comes to Croft, but hey, I can defend like the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, we actually had obviously a bad weekend. We always have high hopes, and P12, I know it was a disrupted qualifying session that hampered us, but I still didn't really have the pace of P1 regardless. And so my best bet was this race, and when I got in the lead from the start, I was kind of determined not to let that one go, to try and salvage something for this weekend, and I didn't, and it's sort of perfect way to do it.
Well done, buddy. Good, well done indeed. So Dan Thackeray, your race 4 victor of the 2023 Milltek Sports Civic Cup. But we've got to have a chat with someone. Oh my goodness. Looking at the difference in dirtiness, Harvey Caton. Right, come here, young man. Well done. Not only second place, but you pick up the trophy named in the honour of the late Paul Winfield. You gave that man something to think about, didn't you? You closed up, I think, with 2 or 3 laps to go. You were 6.5 tenths behind. Then you closed up within quarter of a second, and he could feel the heat in the kitchen. You were bringing it, weren't you, mate? I mean, that was epic.
Yeah, I mean, there was a massive gap after I got past the front 2, and then after that, I was just like, I'll hold this position if I can. If I catch him, I'll try and move. But yeah, it was really exciting, and yeah, I got a bit dirty at the same time. I
mean, seeing you guys, line astern, coming out of the hairpin, down into Clairvaux, through the first chicane, this car was on rails, and this now shows to everybody else that you're not here to make up the numbers. You're here to compete, and that podium, I think, is just the start of something very special for you here in this championship in 2023. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great experience for me. I've learned a lot this race. Like, defending as a big thing I had to work on, and I think it showed in this race. So yeah, I've learned a lot, and I'm really happy.
Anyone in particular you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my dad, Charlie, my family sponsors, all of them. I couldn't do this without them, and yeah, I'm really happy.
Brilliant, Harvey, well done. Second place and the Paul Winfield Trophy winner. And I briefly had a chat with this man on the holding area, Alistair Camp. P3, buddy, you must be thrilled with that one.
Yeah, definitely. Been a long time coming again.
I mean, the competitiveness of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup has just ramped up another level. You've got youngsters like Harvey, Louis Capozzoli, quite a few others. Max Edmondson is another one that we've got to really keep our eyes on this season. But to get a P3 to round out what's been I would say, not a disappointing weekend, but a compromised weekend, because you said to me, yeah, we're not quite there, but that race just proved that you might not have everything underneath you, but if you can make the best of it, it works pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and this is what's been so frustrating for us, to come from where we've been for the past few seasons and then to be struggling like where we are. It's just baffled our heads, and we've tried and tried. It was better that time, but still we've not got the grunt out the bend, which obviously we're going to go away and work on. Then hopefully we're going to be a threat at the front with the rest of the lads like we've been in the past years. It's just the car's great, handling around the corners, that's where I'm reeling everyone back in, but straight line speed is killing me, so hence why I'm all hot and sweaty, working away.
Yeah, definitely, because we've got Alton Park coming up next in a few weeks' time in June. You looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I like Alton Park. I've had a couple of wins there, so that's what I'm saying. If we get it back on song, nice and local for us, so yeah, all good.
Brilliant, well done, Alistair. Congratulations. That rounds out the podium, but got one more man to speak to. I've spoken to him earlier on today, Mark Hughes. Family here as well, mate. Again, another pot to take home. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, my mum and stepdad are here as well. So, yeah, it was good. Bit of pressure on that last couple of laps because I'd got such a good gap from him. I was way ahead, and then the safety car came out. And, yeah, I was like, Anthony Gannon drove an absolute awesome race in the last two laps. He was on me like I don't know what. But, yeah, I can't thank KA Car Sales, powered by DMR, enough. Car set was brilliant. But, yeah, no, it was good, enjoyable race. Yeah.
Well, next up, Alton Park Island, 10th of June. It's going to be a very different format because we've got TCR UK and Civic Cup. It's going to be a very, very compact timetable, isn't it?
Yes, and I'm not at Alton Park.
So are we going to see you at Knockhill in July?
100%, yeah. Unfortunately, I've got a family wedding to go to. My wife will say, otherwise you have to go, but I'd be racing if it wasn't for a family wedding. But, yeah, so Knockhill, looking forward to it. I've never driven a circuit before, but it's something I'm really looking forward to doing.
Brilliant, Mark. Well done. Thank you very much. OK, that wraps up coverage of rounds 3 and 4 of the 2023 Milltek Sports Civic Cup. We leave North Yorkshire and we go to Cheshire. Not too far away. We're going to go to Alton Park Island on the 10th of June. It's going to be a one-day format for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup. But along with that, well, the elephant in the room will be vacated because returning will be Andy McEwen, Paul O'Neill and Anthony Jordan. So on behalf of myself, Alex Goldschmidt here in the pit lane, Scott Woodwis and Henry Baudet in commentary, it's been a pleasure being your commentary team over the course of the weekend, and the normal service will be resumed on June 10th in Cheshire. Until then, goodbye.
And we are racing, and it's an absolutely electric start with the 42 of Will Redford from the wide entry. That's a racing line. Will Redford drifted the back end quite a bit, but look at that, a massive lunge up the inside by Matt Ruff on Alistair Camp through the first couple of corners. So going to go on a huge lock-up. That's a 66. It's terrible. On the outside. Jumped on! Oh! Big off! Straight in the gravel trap. Both cars out. Winning earlier on, and look, he's trying to go round to the outside. Now this would probably be the move of the day. Second place, oh, big sideways moment.